Welcome to our second annual Multifamily Wealth Seminar. The purpose of these seminars is to really give valuable information and resources to owners in the area, owners in the greater Los Angeles area. So we thank all of you for coming. We've got a wonderful group of panelists, all specializing in different areas in real estate, as well as the services that really all of us use as property owners.
So if you buy an apartment building here in LA, it's still a great place to buy. It's always been a great place to buy. You'll be able to know that the rents in LA are going to be higher than most everywhere else in the country.
So the next part of the seminar is going to be really the more interactive part. We've got experts from different fields. First off, thank you for all of you that emailed us and gave us your questions.
People do a 1031 exchange and are very quick to sell their building and find that they can't find a replacement building and often settle for a building that is really unacceptable.
And an appraisal is a look backwards. So it is really, really, really hard for a broker to give you an exact amount on what your building is worth tomorrow. It's important that we as brokers give you correct expectations.
So first and foremost, you all know you've got to serve your tenant with a notice. Whether it's a 3-day notice, a 30-day notice, a 60-day notice, you've got to make sure you've got proper notice.
So there's really so much, it's such a different business from what it was 30, 40 years ago when you had a one-page lease and put a sign out in front and that was it. I think the pros are really to free you up, to have a company you can trust and that is experienced, and most of all, the properties we take over, on an average, the first year we increase the rents 13%. And that's because owners are too close to their product.
You want to have flexibility when it comes to income property. You want to be able to refinance, pull money out, have the ability to sell. You may not sell.
The first thing we do when we meet with somebody is trying to find out what their objectives are and how we can add value.
Every one of you, your rents are too low. I could just flat guarantee it because I've seen so many buildings.
Oh, a 16-unit building? I wouldn't even have a manager at that property. I would have someone on the premises as an on-site, eyes and ears. They're responsible for any emergencies to call the manager, but you can have an off-site manager as long as you designate someone with a very small rent reduction. But for a 16-unit, it's going to cost you a lot of money to have a manager rent the apartments, collect the rents, and do that. You're better off, again, that's where you can benefit by tying this into another property.
What's the best thing to do if you have a fire in the building? So the first thing you have to do is you have to call a boarding company who boards the window, who boards the units. And any emergency repairs that have to be done should be done right away. Remember, take a lot of pictures so you can show it to the adjuster later. The next thing you do right away, you call up your agent and you request them to call the adjuster right away.
First and foremost, what all of you should actually be doing is before you're renting out your unit to the tenants, make sure you do a thorough move-in inspection. How many of you don't do that?
We're very honest when we're sitting with people, looking at a building, saying, well, this is your cash flow, this is what you're making, and they say, okay, I want to buy another multifamily building, and I want to buy this area, and the answer is, it either makes sense or it doesn't. And typically with multifamily, it's very difficult to sell a multifamily building and buy a multifamily building.
I can't tell you how many class action suits are even going on right now. And people I know, because as simple as timesheets, if you're not getting a timesheet, that will cost you because your most loyal employee can turn on you later and say, I was on call 24/7 and you can't dispute it.
I'm going to give you one brief example. He told me a story that he just bought a building for $2.2 million in Glendale, and I happen to know the building personally. Building's worth $2.6 million. some broker called the owner, who was a widow, talked her into selling the building for 2.2. Didn't list it, just brought her an offer from this guy, sold the building for 2.2. As far as I'm concerned, you can take that broker out and shoot him.
There's a lot of things that unfortunately you're just set up for litigation if you don't follow. So you've got to be really astute.
I came out of retirement 5 years ago to work with Warren Berzack because of his value system and his ethics. Ethics means something, people mean something. And I've made it very clear to them that we're not in this business to make money, we're in this business to be of service.